Live.
What's up, lifers? Welcome back to 30 to Live. So I wanted to hop on here real quick and talk to y'all for a minute. I've been getting a lot of requests from people, and they're like saying, hey, Ron, can you talk about more prison stories, more war dogs, things like that? And, you know, I just want to tell you guys that are asking for that, I really appreciate y'all for, you know, coming over here to this channel and supporting. But if you don't know, you know, if you haven't really seen this channel, you know, for what it truly is, then I need to explain to you that the reason why I share stories like that is to really just help people from going and making the same mistakes and you know, ending up with a life sentence or just being sent to prison, period. You know, the mistakes I did in my life has caused a lot of damage in not only my life, my family's life, and other people's lives, you know, that I've harmed and you know, caused damage in their lives. So, you know, it's not something that I want you guys to think that I'm proud of. There is no way in hell that I would want to repeat some bullshit like that again. And when I share these stories with you guys, that is the reason I'm sharing it also, is to help you not repeat these mistakes that I've made, or even repeat the same mistakes that you've made. So, you know, the whole reason for this channel is to bring knowledge and to share experiences that, you know, caused all this bullshit. So although I respect and I appreciate you guys' requests and things like that, I don't know if I'll continue going that route or not. I mean, it's just like an everyday thing for me. I've been asked before, you know, Ron, where are you gonna go with this channel? And I basically just responded by saying I'm just shooting from the hip. But I think now what I really truly feel about this channel is that I'm actually getting on this camera and showing you guys growth. And so every day of my life, I'm having to, you know, learn from mistakes. I'm having to really get to know who I truly am and what my purpose is in this world. So every day is trying to grow for me. That's what I'm doing. So you guys are getting to see me transform right here on camera in front of you guys. You know, when I first started telling these stories and things like that, it was just pretty much just telling those stories. But I always wanted to do something more with this channel, and that is share more of my experiences of why I ended up in prison, and, you know, what I've learned and how to stay the fuck out of prison, you know? So I do want to tell you guys a story today, but it's a different type of story. But this story goes all the way across the board for almost every convict who has been to prison or is in prison today. And this common story is basically this. Every single person that has been through prison or is in prison who is going through this type of bullshit, they are pretty much broken. We all are broken. And the cold part about this whole thing is that we don't acknowledge it, especially men, you know. We don't want to talk about how we're broken deep down inside and how sad we truly are with our lives, because that's a sign of weakness, you know. And in prison, you can't show weakness, you know. That's why you got to always be buffing up and being ready for war and shit like that. You know, you don't have time to really just look at yourself and really look at your life and ask those questions of why the fuck did I end up here, you know? Because you're not born a fucking convict. Maybe in the state's eyes, maybe in the law's eyes, but not in your mother's eyes, not in your father's eyes, and definitely not in anybody, you know, that loves you's eyes. So how the fuck did you end up this career criminal or this hardcore dope addict or this, you know, murderer? How did you end up that way? And that is the real question. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if we can figure that part out, then we can start emptying these prisons and stop keeping that cycle going where, these young boys and young girls are on that path, on that future road of being locked up. So, I'm going to take a shot at it because I was in prison and I talked to a lot of people in there. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, that a lot of us have the same fucking story. And, if you really just hear everybody's story, if people would talk about it more who are locked up, you would hear a lot of shit like, I was abused as a child. I never had a father. I was in a one-parent home. We were poor. We grew up in a community that was full of crime. I've seen alcohol and drugs in my household my whole life. We struggled our whole life. These are the similar stories that would come out of these people's mouths. And I can tell you this, man, that growing up as a child and suffering from this type of abuse or anything like that, or what you've seen, can really weigh heavily on a young person's life. I have PTSD to this day from the experiences I went through, but even as a child, I think I had PTSD. And one of the things that we do, when we're in prison is we turn on that survival mode, right? And that's the thing. So a lot of us are living in survival mode. And when you're a kid and you get fucking abused and you go through bullshit, you end up living in survival mode. And so everything is just a reaction to survive. So, whether it's fucking, using anger and violence, that was my thing, using anger and violence to protect me from those who I thought were going to hurt me or my loved ones, So that was what it was. And it boils down to the bullshit I went through as a youngster. And I think everybody in prison has that same fucking mind frame. They're stuck in survival mode. And so when it comes time to share these type of feelings or to share their background or where they've been and the shit they've been through, that survival mode kicks in like, nah, man, you're going to think I'm weak. You're going to hurt me. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to realize that I'm not that scary. I'm not that type of person, that you should be scared of. I'm actually a person who's really scared deep down inside, and a lot of men ain't gonna admit that. They're just not gonna do it. But what's fucked up is that men don't realize that we're all fucking human and that we have these emotions and these feelings, and that we don't need to always be hard 24/7. And that's what causes a lot of issues in life, period. So, that's the story that I want to hear being told on these prison channels, or just being told across the board, period. Because if we really want to stop, people from going in and out of jail, then we really need to get down to the fucking problem, the root of the problem. Why is it that you're getting locked up? Why is it that you're making these fucked up decisions with your life? Okay. Now, I know a lot of people are going to come back and say, hey, Ron, man, we set up from the gate, the way the system is, it's a business and things like that. And I want y'all to know that I agree 100%. And this is why parents really need to pay attention to their kids, especially your sons, because the boys are set up for prison. If prison is an industry that makes money off of people being locked up, then they already are planning for your young boy to get in trouble, to break the law, and to get incarcerated. You understand that? So if they're planning for it, then you really got to understand what type of predicament or situation or even environment that you're putting your kids in. So, you got to pay extra attention to that. Education is set up that way also. Education is set up for you to fail. So, when it comes to your boys, remember, get a hold of their bullshit, really be there for them, really talk with them, really help them to open up more and share their feelings, and don't fucking, get mad at them for crying. Explain to them like, hey, there's a time to cry and there's a time not to. You shouldn't cry just because you didn't get a piece of candy. You know what I mean? But, if you're crying because of you got hurt or your feelings are hurt or someone you love has been hurt, then you need to tell those kids, hey, it's okay to feel that way, to feel sad, and it's okay to talk about that feeling. So those are kind of some things that you can do to help, keep your kids from going to fucking prison. And another thing is that you got to remember that you're the prime example in their life. The first fucking example in their life is you as a father or as a mother. So if you're doing drugs and shit, if you're fucking doing all this stupid shit, carrying guns or being violent or just, calling their mom a bitch or whatever, your kids are watching this, you know what I'm saying? And so they soak that shit up and they automatically think that's how society is. So, I know we get mad and we fight with our spouses and shit like that, and we get ahead of ourselves, but this is something that we got to practice on and keep ourselves in check. Okay? You don't want a more fucked up future. I think everything that we're going through today with this whole lockdown and everything, a lot of people are realizing, man, hey man, like life is really precious, you know what I'm saying? And we want a better world, a more peaceful world, a more loving world, and all this fucking crap that's been going on these past decades, years, and centuries, it really needs to stop. Well, I'm here to tell you that the only way you're going to change the world, the only way you're going to stop that bullshit in this world is starting in your home. If you have children, they are the future. So, if you're broken, because you are, I am, we all are, we're broken in some way. If you're broken, it's time to start fixing yourself. Start changing, the generations within your family. You know what I mean? You can just look back on generation after generation in your family and you can see all the failures and the wrongdoings that your family has done. Real quick, like for the Samoan culture, right? As a youngster, when I was growing up, I watched my cousins and, even myself and my sisters, we suffered from getting our asses whooped, you know what I'm saying? And that was part of how our family, our elders and things like that, parents, uncles, aunts, that's how they showed discipline for us. They disciplined us, with the heavy hand, and, that's how they showed love. Oh, we love you, so that's why we beat your ass. You know what I'm saying? And when you get older and you have your own fucking kids, and then you have your kids around your aunties and your uncles and their grandma and shit, and then you go and smack your kid or whatever because your kid is acting up, they all jump on your fucking case for doing that, right? And then I'm going to tell you why. Because they realized that it wasn't the right way, you see? And so when you see that, you gotta understand that, hey man, these past mistakes within the generations of my family, I have control of changing this and fixing this by raising my kids different. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the story should be told. You know what I mean? You should be telling the story. Everyone should be telling the story about how broken we have been our whole lives and our families that came before us and what we can do to change it. That is the story I want to hear. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to tell you all that, man, and I hope that you guys get something positive out of that because I really feel passionate about that shit. When I met a lot of people in prison, that's what I would, hear is just a bunch of broken people with broken past, broken childhood. So, yeah. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope that y'all having a great week, and I just wanted to check in with you guys real quick. And as always, man, I appreciate y'all. Much love always, and I want you guys to know this too, man. Don't ever forget this, man. Life is a gift, and it's time for you to enjoy this shit. All right? So y'all know what it is, man. Stay the fuck out of trouble.